Hi, welcome to
Hello.
round 2 of
The arena.
the arena. So we were having a lot of technical difficulties, and then of course the problem just ended up being I just turned off the computer and turned it back on, and then the graphics card was working in the correct way, which is what I should have tried to do right away instead of doing all this other stuff. I did the most complicated thing, but first instead of the least complicated thing. So we're talking about Street Fighter. And we already did our cool intro where we showed this awesome moment, and then it didn't matter. Okay, so we're in the training mode, and I want to just talk to you. So this is really between me and Kelly here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to you about how fighting games work. So fighting games, there's I'm the girl Sakura, and Ken is he's a dummy. Just punch him. All right. Now in Street Fighter, you have an array of moves. So on the ground, you have light kick, medium kick, and hard kick. The difference between these things actually illuminates the basic fundamentals of how fighting games function. The light kick comes out very fast, and it has very low, what we call end leg or ending leg, what might be called. So notice how one of us is blue and one of us is red here. That indicates who can act first. So when I land this kick on my enemy, I have frame advantage. And what frame advantage means is that I can do something again before he can. The best way to illustrate frame advantage is sometimes your frame advantage will be so large, you can get a second attack off. And you saw on the left-hand side it said 2 hits. In this case, the dummy is set to blocking the second hit after I do it. So in this case, he's blocking all these other hits. But now the first one hits, but if I keep trying to do this kick, he'll just keep blocking it. So the fact is, I have such good frame advantage that if I do this, if I time that right, if I do it immediately after, I'll 2-hit him. And sometimes you can even pull off a really crazy combo like this. And so that just did, a big chunk of his health, right? And that's really exciting. That's kind of what fighting games are kind of about. You want to do a bunch of damage. But in order to do a bunch of damage, you need to land some hits. And so it's generally going to be easier to land these, the light kick or the light punch, right? Look at how fast I can just keep doing that over and over and over again. Now let's do medium punch. A little bit slower. Now we'll do heavy punch. Way slower. So heavy punch is of course going to do more damage, and heavy punch is also has more range. So right, I can hit him from here, but look at my light punch doesn't hit from here. Oh, and there we go. Heavy punch just barely. And so the moves with the longer windup have advantages to the moves with that shorter ones. But generally speaking, your bread and butter are going to be your moves that come out really quick. And the reason why is that they're less punishable. And punishing is the name of the game when it comes to fighting games. So punish is when, let's say I see my opponent, they go for a crazy, like I say, I'm right up against him, and he does this attack, and the attack, I block it. Now it's unsafe on blocking. What unsafe on block means is that, this is unsafe on block. See how I'm red? That means that he gets to act first if I hit him. But this one, we have to set him to always block. Because right now, guard off. That is safe on block. What safe on block means is that even if he blocks this, I get to act first. Now usually that doesn't mean I can get another move off, because as you can see, this is a long range move. But it means that if he blocks this, I'm okay. If he blocks this, I'm okay. But what if he blocks this? Look at the red. Look at how long I'm in the red. And when he's not in the red, that means he can act. So let's say for a second that my opponent does something like that. I block it and I go boom, boom, and I can get a big punish off. And a punish is when my opponent does something dumb and I'm able to execute well and get a combo off. So just to reiterate, that's the gist of some moves come out fast and you want to try to chain your moves together. So we got light kick, medium kick, heavy kick. Then we've got light punch, heavy punch, hard punch. Then you can do they're all different though when they crouch. And then 3 sweeps with my legs, and then same thing here with my punches. And we also have jumping light, jumping medium, jumping heavy, jumping light punch, jumping heavy punch, and jumping heavy kick, which actually puts me forward. I don't even know if that's really a kick. Oh no, that's not. It's a punch. So that does a lot of damage. So we see that does 90 damage. Whereas let's do our light punch. only just 40, right? So this one's less safe, but it does way more damage, and that's dope. And it might have some other potential advantages. Sakura, I'm not very good at Street Fighter 5 in general, and so for the audience out there, if you're wondering, like, is this guy good at this game? No. Compared to like the other games we played, which were StarCraft and Hearthstone, I'm much worse at this game, and that's okay. And so what you really are looking to do is you're looking to string together a combo. And as I kind of already talked about just a little bit, but a combo is when your moves can string together in a way that your opponent can't block in between. Mm-hmm. So like if I do this kick, my opponent, like after the first kick, my opponent can just can block the next one. So it's not a combo. Like yes, sometimes if I do this, if my opponent doesn't block or if my opponent doesn't do anything, which happens sometimes in the fighting game, I can just keep doing that. But in theory, you can block any move. Mm-hmm. And so that creates a rock, paper, scissors in the game. Because like you throw out a hit, and if your opponent blocks it, then they take no damage. Mm-hmm. But if your opponent's blocking and you throw them, you just do the damage right away. So if you think your opponent's gonna block, you do the throw. And then that puts them on the ground, and then you can try to do like a mix-up, and you can try to get them when they get back up. And sometimes you can do this and grab them right away again, like if they're not expecting it, right? And so yeah, go ahead.
Are the colors only happening because of training mode?
Yeah, the colors are happening because it's training mode, and that's just to show you whether you have frame so the red even when I'm dashing back and forth, that just means those are frames where I can't do anything. So like if I dash forward and I mash kick, the kick won't come out until that red is done. Yeah. Same thing like here, I'm gonna heavy kick and I'm just gonna mash light kick. So you can see all those frames, that was all until I could act again.
Yep.
And so, but yeah, so combo is when like, this is a really simple combo, but wait, that should go. That should go. That's a true combo. Yeah, there we go. So like this one, standing medium into crouching medium is a combo. AKA, I can do that before my opponent can react, assuming I hit them right. Here I don't think I'm hitting them right. There we go. And then that's even more of a true combo. So I can do this, which is called a shuriken, which is just like this little jumping thing. I can do that also before my opponent can react. If I land after this one. The funny thing is after this, if I can do it, how much time is actually? These combos are really hard to land. So you saw that didn't go. That's because after this punch, I actually can't do this thing, which I know that it just worked just there, but that's because it wasn't a true combo. Yeah. And so the only way I can land this, like make sure that I land this, is by landing this first, then doing this, and then doing this. That's the only way I can true land it. And so that's so for Sakurai, that's the creator of Super Smash Brothers. Sakura, that's one of her bread and butter combos. One of bread and butter combos is the easiest ones to land that do a lot of damage. And so now we noted that it was standing medium and then crouching medium into medium shuriken. And so, but here's the crazy thing: is if I throw out medium kick while I'm jumping, I can also string that into this move, which then strings into this. And so you can see how combos can string into each other like that. I mean, that's how you get a lot of damage. And so knowing your character's combos is like the first part of any fighting game. And this is the only character I know combos for in Street Fighter, or at least that I can remember right now. I used to know a bunch of Juri combos, but Juri wasn't the character I played the most. So, and then so this is a super, and what you see that my EX in the bottom dropped off. And so when I do my super, I do just extra damage basically. And so that's really the core, just basics of a fighting game. And so everything revolves around how fast your moves come out, what the range is. So here we can see this move does not hit from this range. When I move up just a little bit, I hit my opponent. And so spacing is super important, because if I do this and I whiff, right? And so look at how long I have to wait to act again. And so if my opponent's smart, they might dash in and then pull off one of their combos. And so a good player knows how to punish their opponent and get them with combos. But that's not all the game is, because a lot of it's spacing, a lot of it's doing things like this. You know, you throw out your little things, and it's like, oh, now my opponent's got to figure out how to deal with this.
Yep. I hate it when you throw something heavy, and then you're just standing there naked when you miss it, and they just like
Oh yeah, and they just destroy you with it. Yeah, that can be
Yeah.
definitely annoying. And so, for instance, a classic way that the Street Fighter games have particularly worked is that you'll throw one of these out at your opponent, which is a Hadoken.
Yep.
And then what you want your opponent to do is they'll try to jump over it, because that's one of the best ways. You jump over it, and then you slam your opponent. And so when they jump over it, then you do this, right? This is an anti-air. And so the thing about being in the air is really good, because if your opponent is in particular crouch blocking, so crouch blocking is normally really good, because some moves like that, if my opponent's crouch blocking, will hit them. But normally, almost every other move in the game, when you're crouch blocking, like, you're perfectly safe. Like, your opponent can't really do anything to you unless you jump at them. If you jump at them and your opponent tries to crouch block, they're boned. It's gonna go through anyways. And so that creates another one of these like rock, paper, scissors. And again, this time my opponent blocked it, so it didn't do anything. Where if I'm crouch blocking, my opponent wants to jump at me, and then maybe I'll do something like this, which is another anti-air. And so you're always trying to bait your opponent into doing the things that you want them to do, because if you can predict what your opponent's going to do, you can then counter it. And so there's a lot of mind games in fighting games, which I think is part of the reason why they get kind of a rap for being very machismo, very masculine, or having very masculine communities. It's because you've got to have a lot of ego to be like, let's say I do my combo here. Alright, we'll do like a grab here. You gotta have a lot of guts, a lot of chutzpah. So then just go, I grabbed you again. Oh, what are you gonna do? Grabbed you again, right? And then it's like, okay, I'm gonna get up and I'll punch you. And then you're like, nope, I punched you first, right? Like, and so there's a lot of mind games. And so fighting games really bring out like emotions in players, I think, for that reason. Because like you can get just totally, like you can win one round and then get totally dominated in the next. And so, Kelly, would you like to play a game of Street Fighter with me?
Sure.
All right.
Well,
So
I'll be easy to beat as someone who's never played.
yes. So we'll give you a little bit of time to get used to.
How do I join it? Do I hit the?
We're gonna go to versus mode, and then we'll go player 1 versus player 2, and the controller settings should be fine for you. And so I wouldn't worry about those. Just hit B. All right. So you can go down to close.
Yeah, because B wasn't registered.
Okay. It should register that. Alright, we're going to proceed to match. So we're going to play 3 rounds. Oh, so you have to click proceed to match 2. So let's scroll down. Yep, there we go. Now, Kelly's doing the classic thing that you do when you're the friend at someone's house where you're playing with someone else's Chromie controller.
Yeah.
We'll play at Forgotten Waterfall. Now, I'm going to play as Sakura, but you can go ahead and play as any character you want in the thing. And the one thing I'll note is, because I'm not very good at Street Fighter, it won't be too bad for you.
I like this guy.
It's like
My selection's current. Oh, that's because you have to play.
Oh yeah. I don't know all the characters.
I was going for.
Who was it? Nikali, the green guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look
Or
at
Blanka.
But anyway,
Nikali's kind of like Blanka.
Yeah, this looks.
Guile.
Yeah.
He's like the Captain America of this game.
Yeah, I saw it.
And Kelly's a big Captain America fan.
Yup.
And so let's go ahead and let's get into the game. So you're gonna have to press A. You can pick your costume if you want.
I like this.
Okay. And so now the thing you're choosing right now is called a V trigger. And so the more hits you're gonna take in the match, if you press these 2 buttons together, the LR, the RBs, you'll activate your V trigger, which generally is just gonna make some of your special moves even better or more special. And that's like part of the comeback mechanics of Street Fighter V, is that every character has 2. So you can pick between them, like which moves you want to enhance when you go into V-Trigger. But it helps you come back, because you only get V-Trigger when you get hit and take damage. And so you activate it late in the match as your final, like, hoorah, like, maybe I can win this.
Okay, so just let me see the stuff first.
So the nice thing about Street Fighter is it's pretty straightforward, because it's like you gotta try to just move left and right first, because moving is important. If you double tap one direction, you'll dash forward, which is unsafe in a sense, because you take a second until you can activate them.
So these are the heavies?
Yeah, the heavies are the triggers.
Okay, quick. Okay, and then crouching. And how do you block?
Just press backwards in Street Fighter. Here, try to block just this kick. Just back. Just try to back up. Yeah, see, just like that. So you just press back when you think your opponent's gonna attack. Okay. It's kind of weird, because in a lot of fighting games, there'll be a dedicated button. Like, press this button to block.
Okay. Oh wait, there we go. There we go. Okay. Let's
So do that sweeping quick kick.
Wait.
Crouch down and yeah. So note how even though I'm blocking, yeah, keep going. Even though I'm blocking, you're still hitting me. I have to be like this, right? And you see actually my character is trying to block it even though it actually doesn't land. Yeah. But now try to hit it. See, I'll block it that way.
Okay.
Another thing, hit me just a couple times. With some heavy moves. So you see on my health bar it goes gray. That'll slowly recover when I block your moves. There you go. So yeah, so every time you punch, I'm just blocking you. But there I was blocking the wrong direction. And so jumping, that's called a cross up, what you just did. So you jump over somebody. There you go. There you go. So you gotta watch out for cross ups.
Yeah.
And so here I'm just trying to block. The move you just did, you should win round 1 because I let's see how much damage I can do in 6 seconds.
A lot. Mediocre. How do you grab?
So grabbing, you just press these 2 buttons together, or these 2 buttons. It's just you can press kick and punch together. You'll grab. Try to do a grab. Oh, I was just hoping you can whip a grab, right? You don't have to grab me to do it. All right.
Sorry.
So let's go ahead and we'll fight a little bit.
Okay.
Good black. Yeah. So here I'm just trying to space you out, and then that was a punish because you were. And this is one of the things is that you can catch someone pressing buttons, and that's what happened there. I threw out this move, which is really fast, and you threw out a slower move, and so my move connected and your move didn't. And so pressing buttons can sometimes be really deadly in fighting games because, like there, it said counter in the left hand, so I know that you pressed a button when. Ooh, nice.
That was pure chance.
And then, so you can see here that you're actually landing like there's a thing called the neutral game. What the neutral game is when we're pretty much in the same like when we're just like kind of jockeying back and forth for positioning. That's called the neutral. And it's obviously the word neutral means that like no one has an advantage. And the thing is you were winning neutral more than me in that exchange, but I had a better punish game because when you would do something where I'd be able to hit you back, I knew my combos, right? You don't know your combos right now. So in theory, when I win a neutral interaction, I do more damage than you. Whereas when you win a neutral interaction, you do a little bit of damage, and so you have to win a lot more neutrals. Yep. That's part of the design of different characters. Some characters will win neutral a lot, and other but only do a little damage off it. And some characters, they'll get 2 big combos off and they'll just end you, right? And so there's that's part of the design of the game for different characters. In this case, you're actually a zoner. So what I want you to do is I want you to try to do something. I want you to try to do this. Just down, then twirl it to the left, and then press the punch button. It's difficult the first time.
Set it down.
So try to do it slowly, but it'll look something like this. Down and over. Wait. Is he kicks? Wait, how does he?
Yeah, I ain't stupid.
Oh wait, I don't know Guile. I guess I don't know what Guile's moves. Oh wait, we can look up the command list. The command list. I want a Sonic Cross. No, we want his special move, Sonic Boom. Oh, for him it's just forward, then back, then punch. So it should be like one sec. Oh wait, that was a punch. Okay. Well, you picked a character I don't understand very well. So let's go ahead and fight for these last 10 seconds. You won? I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty close.
There you go. All right, you won.
He's combing his hair.
So for my character, it's really simple to throw out the fireballs. You have a fireball called Sonic Boom, but I don't know exactly. I'd have to like go into training mode to figure out exactly how to do it. Oh yeah, doing things on the D-pad. That's how I used to play the whole game. Is on the D-pad.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and if you want to play that character again, we can. And this time we'll just play for real this time and all. Ooh, you caught me pressing buttons.
Whoops. Sorry, that was fun.
nice thing is, in a fighting game, you can hit somebody and they can't be mad at you.
I don't know, because I pissed off my siblings a lot. Actually, we get heated over Super Smash Brothers.
Ooh. You're really good. You're actually doing one thing you're doing very well is you're good at reading when I want to block, and you're getting. But I dropped my so that's an important part of the game is dropping combos.
Got me.
There we go. But I dropped my combo there, and then you punished me for it because like that little the Shoryuken where I just throw my arms up in the air and jump, very unsafe. The second I do that, well, I'll do it to start this round, but I'm so unsafe. I'm just like, wait, what? Come on.
Oh.
Luckily, I clipped you there, but. But when I do that, if you block it, I'm just gonna stuck in the air and you can do anything to me. So being in the corner is bad because now you don't have anywhere to go, right? So you need to wake up with buttons in order to beat a block. Oop, and now I'm in the corner.
I know.
So what's happening there is that I think you were pressing the bumper buttons, weren't you?
I actually wasn't. I didn't use any of those.
So what was happening there?
But I wasn't crouched.
Oh yeah. So we were both pressing buttons, and what happens when we're both pressing buttons is whoever's move comes out faster, they get the hit, right? So I think in that case, I must have been playing. Well, I was just hitting.
Better button game.
I was hitting the faster, like this little kick. This is super fast.
Yeah,
right?
I was doing the
Some moves are called like frame 1, which means the moment I press it, you take a hit. And so in that case, you know that it really matters who's faster. So you can see, like just knowing that combo is pretty useful for me. Ooh, nice. You got the rock paper scissors part down quite well for a new player, which is like you're very good at grabbing when I'm blocking. Oh, so there we both tried to grab, and so if you grab at the same time, I tried to grab you, but I had done it a little. So let me go ahead and I'll switch off Sakura just so we can see for our audience. This is how new players tend to play the game because when I'm Sakura, I can just we have to do it until. Here, I'm just gonna try not to do my combo, my bread and butter, because you don't know your combos.
I do not.
So this is kind of how new players will play the game. Is that like even no matter how good they are generally, is they're still just generally gonna be pressing button like a single hit, getting a single hit at a time, and that'll make a strategy. Strategy where like I do something like this, start to feel really cheap. Because it's like now you need to try to block that.
Yeah.
Nice grab.
Nope, you got me.
Yeah, and so what we saw there, and don't worry, you're gonna watch me get completely dismantled by some people online. It's gonna be embarrassing. But what we saw there in that game, the last one, I was trying to play where like I wasn't really going for my combos, or like even when I land like the standing medium, which is like my combo starter, I usually just like do one other move instead of doing my whole combo. But that's how new players tend to play the game. Is just jockeying back and forth, trading 1 or 2 hits at a time.
Yep.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But when we get to higher levels, the game changes a lot. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna play Zangief. Zangief is cool. See, I'll play his hairy style.
Gross.
Alright. Wait. Okay. Press A.
Sorry.
Oh. Okay. Sponsor is not available or has been disabled. Oh. Ad style. Okay, well, there we go. So I'll just do this. Alright, and we'll go to the cyclone area. So I'm going to tell you, so press A one more time. So I'm going to tell you how this matchup generally should go, and then we'll see how it goes because we're a bunch of new players. Zangief is what's called a grappler, and grapplers, generally speaking, have multiple grabs. Not just their normal grab, but they have something else, and they have a lot of potential for getting a grab. So they'll have a command grab, which is like they'll have a move where they jump forward and grab you or something. Yep. And so that punishes you they have other ways of punishing you for blocking. Your character is a zoner. You actually have a lot of projectiles. The problem is you don't know how to use them.
Yeah.
You see, I'm a big guy, and so like I kind of want to back up, and I want to keep you at like a particular range.
Oof.
So there, I just.
Wait, how are you?
So I'm just doing this move, and the thing is that it's got what would be called like a disjointed hitbox or something. And so like when you were punching, I was hitting your hand out of the air, and then that was doing the damage to you. And also we got to see stuns, which we haven't seen yet. But a stun is where you take too much damage without like in a row without blocking or without doing any damage back. You might get stunned. There's a little stun meter underneath your health bar.
Yeah.
Zangief is number 1. So I like once I learn like the range of a particular move, I'm like, oh, I want to keep you kind of like at that range.
I'm trying to do like that going down. Because every time there we go. Got it. Well, now you knew what I was doing.
Yeah, that's true. A big part is learning like what does your opponent want to be doing. There you go. That actually that was quite a range. So you don't want to be crouch blocking when I jump in the air. Sometimes against a new player, it can be hard to tell what's a true combo.
And what's an oops?
Yeah, and what's an oops. Because like if I do this, you know, that's not a combo, I don't think. But the problem is you weren't blocking the second one, so it looked bad. So a thing that like an intermediate player will know, that just keep walking backwards like that.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. You keep fighting me while I talk. It gives you a better chance. An intermediate player will know that when they get hit, they should generally default to blocking. Because if you try to press a button after being hit, you're going to usually get punished. So there I kind of reacted to your grab, and then I went for an attack. And that's usually where like the gameplay really starts to happen, is seeing what your opponent does and reacting to it with the proper like thing, as well as guessing what your opponent will do. So that like, and that's the difference. There's reactions, right, which are just like you did an unsafe move, and then there's reads, which is I think you're gonna grab and I'm gonna counter it. And that's where the players generally spend their time interacting in a fighting game. Because as you can tell, it's a relatively simple thing. Like we're both just fighting. We're both just fighting on this like two-dimensional plane. Like there's not that much going on. We have a lot of different moves, but the actual just mechanics of what's happening like on the screen are pretty simple. Which is I think part of the reason why fighting games are such a joy to watch. Is like anyone can pick it up and like understand that guy's trying to punch that other guy out, right?
You got me before I got me.
Ooh,
that's cool.
I want to land that. So that so now my goal.
You can't land that on me. You did.
There you go, good block.
Thank you.
So yeah, so your goal right now should just be learning to like block like my moves.
Well,
at least after I hit you with one. After I hit you with one, it's like time to back up, right? That's like the first instinct a new player's got to learn. It's like when I get hit, I need to block. And that can be hard, especially in Street Fighter because blocking isn't a button. It's you should spend, generally speaking, more of your time blocking than you spend attacking. There you go, nice block. So you try to dash forward. The problem is when you dash forward, you're vulnerable for a little bit. And that's the thing is when I walk forward, like you've been doing a lot of the walking forward, and I've been doing a lot of the standing still. But if I try to walk forward to you, guess what I'm not doing? Pressing backwards, right? So go ahead and just come over and hit me. I'll let you hit me.
I should have done a heavy one. You were gonna let me.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is like I want you to just try to hit me a couple times. I'm just gonna try to. Alright, so you see how like I then go into block.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like we'll see that when we start watching some professional play about how important that is. Ooh, see like my frame, like the frame data was not on my side, like I was just barely out of the range. That time I kind of, because my heavy kick there you go, you got a KO. My heavy kick there, that's okay. So jumping, as we know, you can't block while you're in the air. And so jumping is really good for some reasons because it beats a lot of blocks. But also, if you jump right in front of me and I just do like this, that's an anti-air. It'll just clip you out of the air, and it's like I got like free damage.
Like that.
And a lot of times it's easy to react to when you see your opponent jumping. We both press buttons, but yours is faster. So, oh, there you go. I probably should have known that was happening.
Yeah, that's like the one good thing I could do so far.
Yeah, no, you're pretty good at calling out the grabs. So do you mind if we play a couple games online?
No, go ahead.
All right.
It's frustrating because I usually play like either tanks or distance.
Do you want to try
characters.
a different character?
No, because I feel like a lot of this, like it's all like a lot of close combat, and they're all generally similar moving, if I'm not mistaken. Like with Smash, I'm always like Snake, Bowser, Ganondorf. Ike is the quickest one that I ever play. So it's weird, and a lot of them you have a lot of things that you can do from a distance, or you grab one then you run back. So this style in general is counterintuitive to all the ones that I like playing.
Yeah, and the unique thing about Street Fighter in general is that all of the like throwing out fireballs and stuff, that's all mapped to like your specials, which require just like a more complicated input than I press Y, right? And it's like I have to do down, corner, left, Y, or something like that. So right now we're looking for an opponent. But yeah, so that's like the gist. So I think now we've gone over like the first section of the show, which is like what is Street Fighter, and the goal, as we saw, reduce your opponent to 0 health. The way you do that is by landing hits, which is usually by punishing, and like there's a constant jockeying between you and your opponent in the neutral game. But the main thing I kind of wanted to get across today was this idea of punishing, which is like when your opponent does something, they leave themselves open to be punished, and so it's like how can you punish them, and what can you predict? That becomes the primary way players interact with each other. And
I think it's just interesting that it's called punishing. Like there's just such a, like when you talked about how it's very like hyper masculine environment. It's like just like, oh, you made a mistake, now it's time to be punished.
Yeah.
Like whereas like, oh no, like I made the strategic move to do this because you did that. Like so just like the mentality of punishing versus like a strategic choice. Sorry. And I noticed that I left the open Gatorade bottle for
Well, I'm glad that got taken care of. Are we ever going to find an opponent? That's my question.
Does it do the thing where it matches people to similar levels?
Yes. So I'm ranked 467 LP. What that means is that I'm terrible.
So they're probably only good players right now.
You get about 50 for a win and about 25 for a loss. So in theory, you should always be going up if you're winning half your games. And so obviously I don't win very many games if I'm still at 500.
Yeah.
That's like 10 wins. With no losses. But then obviously I lose a lot of games too.
Yeah.
Come on. I was playing ranked games last time, and I was actually matching pretty quickly.
I mean, it's also 4 o'clock or like 5 o'clock.
I put connection status to 4 to 5. I'm gonna put it to 3 to 5. So that like connection is really important in fighting games because as we noted, and we didn't really talk about frames too much, but like frame advantage is like if you're a very good player, becomes something that's very important to very say that word over and over again. It becomes really important to. It becomes important to understand the frame data between you and the other heroes. So for instance, if I throw out my medium punch on you and you block it, you know you have frame advantage for 2 frames. That means that you know there are 2 frames where I can do nothing after I throw out that move and you block it, and you can do something. And you know that your light kick comes out in 1 frame.
Yep.
So you know what, and that's a bad one. 2 and 1 is really low. Usually it's like 10 frames and 8 frames or something like that. But if I know that I have advantage, I know I can throw out my light kick and hit you, and then I know also that my light kick combos into my other kick, right? And blah 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 blah. All right, so since that's not working, we're gonna go ahead and we'll try some casual matches. I personally like playing ranked matches more because casual matches will just have when you're bad, casual matches mean a wider range of competition, which means more likely to get completely owned by someone much better than you.
Yeah.
Whereas ranked, it's like, oh, well, we're both in the dumpster at least,
Yeah.
right? Like,
we're dumpster friends here.
there we go. We connected to a match. Okay, that's good. So this guy should. Another fight is coming our way in a casual match. So we're gonna play Sakura, and hopefully I'll just get my combo off once or twice, and I'll feel good about that. But I'm expecting to get kind of owned. It's Zangief, our boy. Oh, I just auto did Sakura. Okay. So when you play online in this game, to speed up the this part, I think that they just do it so that you already have to pre-select your character and the stage before you get into the game. That way there isn't, like, when you connect to somebody else, there's not this thing. But connection is really, really important because, like, as I said, if, like, let's say there's a 6 frames of lag, well, now I suddenly can't.
Level 776.
Well, level doesn't
Sorry.
matter. His rank was, like, I think in the 400s, which is where mine was.
Okay.
So that, like, level just means how much you've played the game.
Okay.
It doesn't mean how good you are. And one thing we'll note is that there's a big difference between being good and playing a lot.
Yeah.
So my first thing I'll do is I'm going to test the zoning out with my kick, because my kick is kind of long.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Oh.
See, he countered me there. Ooh. Oh, I didn't mean to jump, but that's okay. Okay, so we got our combo off. Ooh, I wanted to get the grab, but he beat the. Okay. Ooh. So you can see we're jockeying right now. He wants to get a grab, so he just kind of wants to get me to get closer, and I don't really want to get close. I want to punish him for like throwing out a kick like that. And so he's actually, but right now he's backing up. Eventually he's gonna have to move forward, which we just saw. Unfortunately, he did a good in the air there. All right, so we both clipped each other. So I'm gonna start using my longest range move, which is my heavy kick, because I'm noticing that he's like kind of staying back more. Ooh. When you both jump in the air, it's like a great microcosm of the whole game. Okay, so.
Can you do? Yeah, it's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Oh, I went for the grab, but his came out much. It's a second faster. You can see that there's a little bit of lag going on.
Yeah.
That's okay. And then he gives this little victory thing. Alright. Ooh. He's doing a good job reading me. Oh, I went for a get up punch because I thought he was gonna go for a grab, but. Oh, I got a V reversal there. I've like never gotten one of those before, at least on purpose.
What?
A V reversal, which is like it's using that V meter in the bottom right. Ooh. Oh, I could have gotten a big punish off. So if somebody does like their heavy move, whatever. So I woke up with buttons. He woke up with an attack, and his attack was already out when my attack was going out. So even though mine might have been faster because it was a light punch, he still got it. So we can rematch this guy, and I think we're actually relatively even still, even though he won both of those, because he wasn't just dominating me. Generally speaking, he was. We were like exchanging blows.
That chest hair is nasty.
And that's part of the masculine nature. Like, the women are very sexualized. Like, we're playing some one of the least sexualized characters in the game.
Yeah.
Women, at least.
And meanwhile, like,
whoa! Yeah.
I mean, at least she has, like, the shorts on and not, like, just, like, panties.
Yeah, that's true. I think she had that on in a different one. Oh, gosh, he gets the grab, like, every time. I need to... See, he punishes me for blocking too much.
Yeah.
And that's... Oh! Okay, so I can duck under that, which is useful to know. Yes, there we go. There we go. I want to make my feature off. So we're kind of downloading our opponent a little. We've learned that he doesn't know how to deal with these cross-ups.
Yep.
Oh, he's still alive. So I just want to get him with like a leg kick. Darn it!
Oh,
no, not dead yet. Punch. What?
No!
Oh, I forgot. Oh, he was so close to death. Oh,
Shit,
man. Look at it. So that was pretty good. That was really good by our opponent.
Damn.
So he's learned. So we're learning things about each other. He knows that when he does that move, I don't know what to do. I need to jump over him when he does it, actually. That's an EX move, though, so he only gets it once in a while. And I've learned that he doesn't really know what to do about my cross-ups. When I went for a cross-up, but he was in the corner, and so it didn't work. There we go. Yeah. When I he doesn't know what to do with that. Okay, I can grab him out of that. That was the move.
He's able to get like fiery.
Yeah. I had an opportunity there.
Oh. He looks like me after I've been in.
Oh, I hit him with that. Okay, good.
Seconds.
Oh, look at that. That's just some Smash Bros stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh. That should be it. Oh, I dropped my combo and now I'm dead. Yep.
Yeah.
Darn it. So dropping the combo there meant that I didn't frame perfect go from standing medium to crouching medium, and so he blocked it. So he did a good block for one. But in theory, if I land that perfectly, I should kill him every time. But unfortunately, I didn't, and I lost the round. But both of those were really we don't get to keep playing against him. Because you can only lose against someone twice, and then they'll kick you out. Mm-hmm. And then so you can't theory play 3 games against somebody. But that was really fun actually. Even though we lost. And so I hope that what you're seeing there, viewer and Kelly, is like kind of like you saw that we were adapting to each other as the thing went on. And I was able to call out and think to myself, oh, like I'm understanding that like when I jump over him, so that's called a cross up because you have to block in the opposite direction of what you normally would because your opponent's then on the other side. And I was noticing that he just wasn't very good at reacting to that. So my cross-ups were hitting him really bad, but he also realized, oh, when I do this, he doesn't know what to do. I did beat it once with a grab, but most of the time I just got crushed by like that. That was a really good move by him, or for him. But overall, I'd say those were really close because both players are getting pretty low on health into what are called like last hit scenarios. So like the last person to get their hit or combo off wins the game. Anyone in chat, if you want to say anything, or in chat, you feel free and we can try to answer your questions. Hopefully we find another opponent soon before we move on. And we're just going to go to 5. I know we started late, but we're just going to do the normal show time for today. Be careful. Any questions that you have right now?
Give me a second.
You should know that.
So, the crowd with a lot of these fighting games, is it a different energy in esports than the crowd in strategy games?
Yes. There is a much, I think, more personal connection with the people playing the game for fighting games in general than there is for strategy games. And that boils down to quite a few different things. Character choice, like you're more likely to identify with somebody who's playing the same character as you. A big thing is because it's as opposed to a strategy game, which are often online, in a fighting game, often you're sitting right next to that person. So there's different kind of emotional energy when I'm sitting right next to you, and we connected to somebody, then we. This is they were like, we don't want to play against you. I don't. They hit the cancel button.
When I do,
but
will you come with me?
So, and I would say like there's a lot more heckling in the fighting game genre of particular players, and there's also an easier way of connecting storylines together because it's mono-y-mono. It's like, it's like, and often because it's in a tournament and a more of a direct tournament setting where it's like you have to beat somebody to advance and stuff like that, which happens of course in strategy games too. But I think in strategy games, it's a little more unpersonal, right? It's like in StarCraft, it's like I cheesed you and I won, like yes, right? But in this game, it's like I got the right read and I won. So it's like I knew you, right? Like I had some sort of insider knowledge on how your brain functions in order to beat you, and that I think is what creates part of that energy. But generally speaking, the crowd in fighting games is one of the reasons that people get into it. It's because so we're going to be playing against Chun-Li, who's like probably one of the icons of the Street Fighter series. Her, Ryu, and Ken, and then Bison. A lot of the characters in Street Fighter are well known, but I'd say Chun-Li is definitely up there. So we're playing somebody who has a Swedish flag, He has 450 LP, which is a little less than we have. So that means that in theory, he's about as good as we are. He may be way better. In my experience, the LP at this rank means nothing. Like someone could have like 500 and be leagues better than me, or have like 800, 900 and be worse than me.
Yeah. I just love the immediacy of fighting style games. Even though Street Fighter is not one of the ones that I personally played a lot or enjoy yet. But like,
we have a lot of lag. He's in Sweden after all.
Nice. But like, I love Smash Brothers.
Ooh, that was really punishable. Go ahead.
Getting quite into Overwatch. And then also, like, I played way too much Call of Duty. All of which I feel are a lot faster paced than StarCraft and Hearthstone.
Hearthstone definitely. StarCraft is probably the fastest game of all the esports, which maybe sounds counterintuitive because it is a strategy game.
Or I mean, as far as like direct, like second to second input.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean, and by way of feel, I totally agree with you. The thing about StarCraft is you have to put like the actions per minute is the highest of like any esport. But the thing is it doesn't always feel like that. No, I want to feature it, but I already have. That should hit him. Yeah. So like our opponent there was like, you can't do anything if I do this, and it was like, yes I can. Like So Milwaukee, you're from Sweden, but you're kind of mentioning or referencing where we're playing right now.
Yeah, that's funny.
Ooh, crushed over there. Okay.
All you gotta do is okay.
Well, the thing is that I can do that. I can jump. Like remember?
Yeah, but that was still funny.
Oh, you gotta grab. Yeah, that was good. The thing is, you can't just keep dodging.
Right.
Like, the thing is like this is a relatively linear game plan. Ooh. So that was a relatively linear game because our opponent was trying to like we saw cheats in StarCraft. It was like using some kind of cheaper trick in order to try to win. In that case, our opponent was like, I think that if I just crouch block, you are gonna have to react. Like I'm just gonna react to whatever you do. And so the problem with that strategy there is that there's a linear way to defeat that in particular, which is jump at them. Ooh, I went for it. Happened again. So this shows how you can like download your opponent and try to read what they want to do and then react to it. And again, I'm seeing that he wants to wake up with buttons a lot. And so that means that our wake up with blocking a lot, I mean. And so that ooh, nice. Oh. There we go. See, our opponent's starting to wake up a little. Like when... Oh, we almost got him with... You see how close that leg kick was? Yeah. Oh, jeez. Well, like the lag was really hard there. Like you saw they're like teleporting all around the screen. I don't want to... Like, obviously it's lame to blame lag for your losses, and they played well, right? It was a very close game. But obviously at the end there, it got very difficult for me to read what my opponent was trying to do. I'm wondering if maybe they're just having trouble responding to that. Like the thing is at max range, that's actually safe on block, so I can just keep doing this at max range. My opponent has to jump in. The problem is he caught me at a bad time. Ooh. Oh, I wanted to be trigger there. I did not want to do. Oh, he got me. So. Oh, I'm blocking. Oh, what? Oh, I thought so. That was a true combo. That's the combo that was in the other game, that we saw at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
There we go. Opponent's getting better. Oop! Ah! There's a lot of... Oh.
The worst...
There we go. I knew if I just hit him with a light kick, and light kick comes out so fast, I was just hoping to catch him pressing a button. And that could sometimes be the way you want to close out a match. But we see I actually lost a match earlier because I was trying too hard to just land that. Final round. Okay, so
it's the worst when
he's not. What? He's not blocking. What? Come on.
Are they even around? I guess they have to be around to be.
To be crouching, they need to be around. Yeah. What? I can't. So that was actually really interesting. I don't know what exactly. Wait, no, I don't have that. Ooh, I went for like something special and it didn't work. As often going for something special. Oh, yeah, that deserved this.
It's the worst when their health bar is really low and you got a good one and like you just get a little cocky.
Oh yeah.
And then they just chew you down.
Yeah. Sometimes in fighting games that would be called like when you're trying to like do something really special. Like that's called styling on an opponent. Like I'm trying to like do all this stuff. It is 4:30, so we're gonna move on now to watching some people play. But I'm glad we get to see us win and lose some games. Last night I played the non-casual games. I was just playing ranked. I kept losing really bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll turn it off. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna watch Daigo versus Punk. So these are both professional players. Oh wait, we don't need that on. We're just gonna talk over the gameplay. So let's go ahead and we're gonna move forward to supported by.
I always love the setups. It's always just like a very like cool as not cool as in like oh that's so cool, but just like cool as in atmospheric, like blue lighting type stuff.
So we see here it's Guile versus Karen. Guile is more of a I'm really just going by ear here. I haven't watched this game, but Guile is more of a zoner, and Karen is more of she wants to get in. She's got some good grappling options. She's got some good movement. And so we'll see how it goes. So we see right away, Guile's already trying to zone, right? He's using the sonic boom, his like little shuriken, to try to get in. And so there we see Punk, who's playing Karen, predicted it, jumped over, and got a good combo off.
Yeah.
And so you can see that part of the thing is that Guile's going to be chipping away at Karen's health over these. Karen's going to get her damage in big chunks, while Guile's going to be getting his in little ones.
Yeah.
You can see that the gray health bar was really big there. And I think I referenced the gray health bar, but I didn't finish talking about it.
Yeah.
What that is when you do a block, you take a little bit of gray damage. And it'll come back over time, but if you take any real damage, the gray damage will also be impacted.
Yeah.
All right. So here we see like Punk is trying to keep Daigo. Daigo, by the way, is the player who won in that famous evil moment from 37. But anyways, ooh, that's really good. So they went under the thing and then got a combo. So as I noted, Karen is getting the damage in big combo chunks. Guile's trying to do the zoning thing. So we'll see what happens here. Ooh, predicted the sonic boom right away, and look at all that damage. And then the read, right? Read. Oh, another read. Okay, there we go. This time they beat out the grab. So we see Karen's got a special that allows her to just move in quickly, and that's been one of her main moves of starting up damage. But now the shoe's on the other foot, and Guile's starting to move forward a little bit. And the thing is you can see how Punk was reading pretty well. Guile's the more stationary, I'm gonna try to hold you off kind of play, and then Daigo switched it up and started moving forward.
Yeah.
And we see that Punk was unable to read that. Oop, and then dodges onto that, gets the combo off, gets a grab, it's close. See if, but
Damn.
there we go. And so that's Punk, so Punk is pretty happy he just won that one. Gotta drink water, stay hydrated while you're playing fighting games. I kind of feel bad for Daigo. Daigo has almost always played, I think, Ryu in the fighting games, or he has always won it, or in general, but Ryu's not very good in this game, and so he's playing Guile instead. But let's go ahead. There's not a lot of the games are different, but they're there's not like big steps forward. It's not like Street Fighter games will never switch to 3D. Like they're the quintessential two-dimensional fighting game. So here we see Guile again getting off to that strong start with the zoning, but then Karen's just trying to get in and do that damage. And so you can see there's a clear flow to like who's punishing who and how they're doing it. Ooh, it looks like
He's getting murked.
He is. Well, it's still a pretty close game.
Yeah.
Oh, and it looks like one read. Yeah. And so that was what I call one read situation. And then when you're on the ground, you have limited options, right? It's not the true neutral. And that's something we'll talk about a lot more when we get into Smash Brothers. Is this idea of advantage and disadvantage state. A disadvantage state is like when you're blocking or when you're on the ground. And Smash, that can also be when you're above your opponent, you're off the stage, right? Or you just got hit. In Smash, there's a lot of advantage and disadvantage states. And so one thing I'll say here is that it really appears that Guile's got the better neutral game between these two. He's winning neutral a little bit more. Karen has the much better advantage state, which is when she's like hitting him, she's like ahead by quite a bit. And so Karen in general, Punk is gonna, or, you know, I keep switching it up, but Punk is in general wanting to get up close and be in that advantage state, getting hits off. Because even when they're getting blocked, they're still maintaining an advantage. Guile wants the game to slow down a little bit, and he wants to hold it off. And so to see a lot of times, you see them like kind of crouching a lot, and that's because crouch blocking is obviously much preferred to just regular blocking.
Jesus.
Yeah, oof. And that's a stun, so that should be the KO. Because once you get a stun, you can go for whatever your biggest, baddest combo is that does the most damage, because there's no fear of your opponent blocking it. And you note that a lot of times when they get the combos, and you saw this with my Sakura, where I would go for like the dragon punch, where like I shot them up in the air for the last thing. That's like usually called a combo finisher. It's a move that you would never throw out just randomly, because it's very unlikely to hit. But it does a lot of damage, so you figure out, it's kind of like you base your whole game around, how can I make sure I lead up to this? I combo certain things into it. So here we see, this is the top 32, and we see Punk is up 2-0. So they have to win like a 2 out of 3 times in order to advance, because it's a best of 5. So we'll see if Daigo can come back now. This was called What a Match on YouTube, so I assumed that it had to, like, Daigo's got to turn it up at some point, because the 3-0 isn't that exciting.
Yeah.
A fun thing about fighting games is that a round is just really short. And I think that that's also part of what can help create narratives and helps you, like, you can adapt in between. You have a moment to breathe, and then you can try to adapt to what your opponent's doing. Because you're going to have all of these little interactions over the course of a complete set. So it's not just, oh, I hit you with my medium kick once. You got an anti-air there.
Because right now he hasn't taken any damage at all.
He's starting to read it. So there, actually, that was a great example. So, like, one thing that Punk has been doing this whole time, perfect KO, and that's when you KO them without taking any damage. And then suddenly it's like, oh my goodness, Daigo, what is going on? But we saw Karen diving under a lot, doing a dive under thing, or diving under the Sonic Boom. And we saw Punk there, he Daigo backed up, like in a really good way. And so he's learning how to space, like what Punk is wanting to do when he Sonic Booms, and he's trying to react now. So now you can see, like, there's like 3 layers. Like, I'm Sonic Booming, here's what, and then it's like, well, when you Sonic Boom, I'm gonna do this to counter the Sonic Boom. And it's like, when you do that to counter the Sonic Boom, I'm gonna do this. All right, and then there's mind games, because so this can make sometimes in fighting games doing the wrong thing can be smart because your opponent doesn't expect it. Like, a great example of this is in Smash Brothers. Smash attacks are just bad in general. So Smash attack is more likely to kill your opponent in those games, because it does a lot of damage and knocks them really far, but they have long wind up and long afterwards. But if you're like, you know, this is normally dumb, but you would never expect that I would do this, and then you do it, and then it works, right? And we see that sometimes Daigo is doing that here. So there Punk gets the combo off again. And the important thing, though, is at this level, when you see like a crazy combo go off, it's because that's a frame perfect combo. And what that means is that there's nothing Daigo can do once he gets hit by the first hit of the combo. He's just going to take it. Like, that was a 3-hit combo. And you can see 3 hits shows up on the side to show that's a real combo. Like, Daigo's not bad. He just, that's just what happens when you get hit by that particular move. So when you're punching someone while they're blocking, that's often called pressuring them. And a lot of times, a lot of moves are safe on block. And what that means is that even though you're blocking it, I still get to go first again. And it doesn't mean I get to punch you. Ooh! That was pretty dirty. that is actually a great opportunity to talk about a lesser thing that we haven't really discussed very much, but that's the EX meter at the bottom. You see the blue meter? In a single round, or a single best of 3 rounds, that actually will carry over between rounds. But the V trigger, which is right above it, does not carry over between rounds. And so that's an important thing to note, is that Daigo did win that round, but he used all his EX meters. So now Punk is actually ahead, even though we're at 100% each. Just by merit of he's got a full EX meter, which allows him to do, he's got more access to his character's full arsenal of moves. You see, slowly as he gets hits and gets hit, Daigo's EX meter is starting to come up. So a lot of times what you want to do is you just want to do like, you want to like slow down, and you're like, let's play back at like 50, and we can be like, okay, medium, ooh, crouching, medium, crouching, attack got blocked. Like right now the game is like actually quite a bit easier to kind of digest, like, right? Because like when it's so slow, okay.
So you got that punish when he did the low kick.
Exactly. Like it's easier to trace it all back. So this, like that was a 7-hit combo that did a lot of damage. Ooh, wake up EX. And so wake up EX is really unsafe if your opponent blocks, but if they're doing anything other than blocking, I'm sorry, you're boned. Again, 5-hit combo. Second time he's done that combo this round. Alright, we'll see if Daigo can get up. You got the reversal. Goes for the thing.
Oh.
So I'll explain why because they're both doing that like in the middle of a combo, and I'll explain why after this round. And that should be it. Ooh, no, he got the block off, wake up EX, and double wake up EX to get the KO. So we'll set it back to full speed for in between these rounds, and probably for the rest. But I like watching it just slow for a little bit to see like your reaction time has to be insane. Because like even watching it at half speed, I'm like unsure, right? But so in this game, when you do the V trigger, which is where you're set up so that your moves, some of your specials become a little different, it actually works to, if you use it, I think like while you're in the ending leg of some moves, you'll cut the ending leg short. And so you can actually do some combos that are otherwise impossible because you like cut out a couple, maybe like 5 frames of ending leg, and thus have an opportunity to make an attack. So that's why you'll see oftentimes like in the middle of a combo they'll suddenly V trigger. It's because it allows them to extend the combo even more. Ooh, Punk is like, I got you figured out, man. I know exactly what you're gonna do, and that's a stun. So that should be the thing. Because there we go. So usually, once the opponent is stunned, it doesn't mean the game's over, because a lot of characters are just limited. They can't do like the whole health bar, even with their best combo, right? And so, but oftentimes the stun means you've already taken a lot of damage, and you're just gonna be hard pressed to come back from that. Let's see.
One of my favorite things, because like we've been comparing fighting games versus strategy games, but there's clearly strategy.
Oh, definitely.
And it's just really, I love watching people learn their opponent and learn how to fight against a particular person.
Exactly. It's almost like it definitely fighting. I think that's what makes. I think going back to your thing about the crowd and why does the crowd get into it, and why are fighting games generally more emotional than strategy games? It's not just like strategy games are for nerds, fighting games are for jocks or whatever. It's because it's exactly that. It's like there's like some sort of personal connection between the two players that we're like witnessing as we watch this. They're like learning each other and they're reacting to each other in very real time. And I think that leads to the excitement of watching these. The issue I think with fighting games and why they can sometimes be hard to watch is it can be hard to understand how, like, why isn't he just doing the sonic boom over and over, right? Like, if you don't understand the basics of the game or of the characters, it can be sometimes difficult to be like, why are they doing what they're doing? Like, understand, like, he got punished because he sonic boomed and the opponent read it. But the thing is what Punk did to read that sonic boom was dangerous in and of itself. If his opponent didn't sonic boom, he'd actually be at a bad place. So fundamentally, he's like, you're gonna sonic boom, and I'm guessing that you are. So but this is crazy. This is what we call tournament life. So like for both of them, they're both one victory. Whoever wins this round wins. And so this is like all the chips are on the table,
Yeah.
and this is where it's like it gets very emotional. You get really nervous as a player, right? It's who has the better nerves, who can stay in the and then Punk manages to take it at the very end.
Yeah.
And you see Punk is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I won that. Punk is a British player, by the way, and Daigo South Korean. So let's go ahead. We're gonna go to the EVO 2017 Grand Finals, and that'll take us right up to the end of today. And I actually remember watching this live, and this is between, I believe this is Tokido here. Yep, Tokido and Punk. So we're seeing some similar players from the matches. Punk is really good. Oh, Punk isn't British. Who was I thinking of? Problem X was another player with a P name. That's why I get them mixed up. Problem X is British, and he won EVO like in 2016, I think. But so here we've got Karen again, but this time instead of Punk is playing the same character, right? But Akuma is known as a dirty character, and that's actually why I picked this particular. I wanted to highlight Akuma. Akuma has a lot of mix-ups, and what mix-ups are like you think I'm gonna zig and I zag. A lot of characters have relatively linear like things. Like when I jump at you, I'm very like with Sakura. At least especially when I jump at you as Sakura, I'm going to medium kick you because that's Sakura's best option in the air. The thing with Akuma is he's just got a lot of different ways to like. I wish that the quality was just. I guess it'll get there. But the thing with Akuma is like he'll jump and he's got like he can throw a fireball while in the air, or he could go for his kick. And then it's like he does his fireball, but it could be that fireball or this fire or whatever.
I love that bear in the background so much.
Yes, the bear really enjoys the fighting. I think remember Zangief, the big guy? I think that's his sparring partner. I'm not joking. I think that's the story of the game. So here we go. Combo goes for the up. Yeah, so you see that's like part of Akuma's mix-up. He can jump and then stall for a second and then do something. Yeah. And so
I love that. Sorry.
No, it's cool that you love that, and that's like dirty fighting though, right? And that's why people love Akuma, and that's like part of like how can you design a character like Akuma's a villain in the Street Fighter universe. It's like how do you design a character so they feel like a villain? In this case, it's like mix-ups, like really can make a character feel like this person's like he's a bad guy, like he was a bad man, you know?
Ludology versus Naruto.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like trying to fuse those things together, right?
I just love making fun of there can only be one study in games.
Yeah, so here we can see that Karen is actually it's a little bit of a different matchup. So before we saw against Guile, Punk's Karen was constantly trying to get in, right? When they were close up on the Guile, it felt like they were winning, right? Here, we can see that they both kind of want to be close, but it seems to be like when Akuma's moving forward, it's a lot worse. So Karen's kind of on the back foot more than in the last one. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about in Hearthstone with kind of who's the beatdown, which was a question we asked in Hearthstone. Like, that combo. So that wasn't a true combo. And what that means is that
nasty.
at some point in there, Punk guessed what Tokido was going to do next. And because he guessed right, he got to extend his combo and do even more damage. But anyways, so different matchups depending on the character will change who's the beatdown or not. And so that can sometimes lead to why tournaments can be exciting because it's like Punk's Karen, maybe he's really good. And I don't know Punk's Karen that well, so I'm generalizing, and this may not be the case for this person, but maybe he's really good at going in, right? But then against Akuma, where he's kind of got to be backing up, he suddenly struggles a lot more with that character, and that can often lead to feeling like you have to switch characters again in certain matchups because you're like, I don't want to do Karen versus Akuma, I want to do, that's too hard, or whatever. So, right away, a nice long extended combo, but the question is, can Akuma bring it back? He's like one hit, but that's a good start. Ooh, got another one. Oop, but that grab will be it. Yep. Yeah. And so you can see, like, being behind is obviously really bad, but not like untenable. It's just, when you're one hit away, it's like you're suddenly like you go from like here like when you're both at 100, it's kind of like I've got to win maybe 60% of our interactions, right? And then when you're at like 0 health, right, it's like I got to win 100%, and it becomes a lot more difficult.
Yeah. That was nasty, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah, and so you can see these players are. Oh, no. So you see these players are very good at landing their combos consistently, but even the best players sometimes drop combos. But dropping combos is like one of like the worst feeling. It's like, because like it's kind of like that damage was yours, and we saw that happen when I was playing a couple times today. It's like this was mine, and then it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see if Punk can continue.
I think it's interesting how much water, and it's silly to like, but like they drink a lot of water.
I think it's like a mental thing. You know what I mean? And yes, you want to drink. Being hydrated actually affects reaction time, I believe, but I don't think that's like the primary reason. I think it's like a mental tick when you're playing.
Yeah.
And so here we can see, just like how being in the ground is bad because your options are limited. When you're in the corner, like that's also bad because you can't back up. In particular, that means that you're more likely to throw out buttons because it's easier to be grabbed. If you can't back up, it's very easy to grab the opponent. And so we saw there, Akuma got Karen into the corner, and it was lights out. No, and so what'll often happen is when you're in the corner, you'll suddenly have a couple things. So one thing you might want to do is you might want to try to throw the opponent and then throw them behind you, because like that's one thing you can do. I don't know if every character can do it, but some characters can. The other thing you want to do is cross over, jump over the opponent.
Yeah.
And so suddenly, a good player is thinking, okay, I know you want to jump over me, so what are my moves that'll punish you if you try to jump over me, while still perhaps punishing you while you're on the ground? Ooh! Got him. But yeah, like I said before, I think, and we'll do this round in slow motion again, digesting the game becomes a lot easier when it's a little slowed down.
Oh.
So we see there exactly kind of what happened. Like he saw what was good. So then block, block, block. And you see how like you get pushed away a little bit every time?
Yeah.
That's actually really important because if you didn't, someone could probably just sit there and just keep pounding away at you, right? Because a lot of moves are what called safe on block, which means when my opponent blocks it, I get to act first. And so usually you'll wait until, we'll see it right here, wait until you have the distance where they can't hit you again, and then you try to do something.
Nice save.
See there, we saw him throw out I think that was medium kick twice in a row, which was just that little knee. And he threw it out once, and he was like, if you move forward, I'm going to hit you with this. And then they tried to move forward, and he hit him with it. And then that led to this string. Gets the cross up. Continues the combo. That's a lot of damage. And then he went for the read. Ooh, that was a command grab there. So that was obviously not a normal grab, but it was a move that will grab the opponent if they don't throw out like a punch or something. And what made the Zangief, we saw him before when he did the big bear run at you. The thing about that is you either need to grab him out of it or you need to hit him twice. It's kind of what's called super armor. So the first hit will do damage if you hit him in it, but he'll still keep doing it. So you have to have a move that's either quick enough to hit him twice, jump over him, or grab him out of it. I think maybe for him projectiles. So Punk is like, I'm happy that I think Punk is up 2-0 right now. Or no, Kuma won the last one, right? So yeah, Kuma's up 2-1. Yeah. But the thing is this is a grand finals. And so here, one thing to note is that Tokido's coming from the loser's bracket, which means he did lose a best of 5 at some point. And so Punk has not lost any. So Tokido actually has to win 2 best of 5s in order to advance. Let's go ahead and we'll speed it back up to normal. We got a lot of Street Fighter to watch still. So let's just say I'm pretty sure based on the length of this video that Tokido's going to probably win one of these last 2 games. So Punk has to win 2 in a row here in order to, or not 2 rounds, but 2 games in a row. Yeah. In order to win right now. Otherwise we go to grand finals, both the players are on the loser side. Ooh, nice combo. There we go. And so, yeah, fighting games are just, to me, they're just so, like, emotionally, like, riveting. Because it's just, like, you get so tense when watching them. In particular, my favorite fighting game, which we'll play soon, is Super Smash Bros. In particular, I love Super Smash Bros. Melee. But Ultimate is really fun, too.
See, I had a hard time with Melee because it was very slippery to me. And like I said, I like playing heavy characters, so...
Yeah. one thing I'll say that Street Fighter does better than most is the heavy characters are pretty good. And like Smash Brothers, and sometimes in like the Soul Calibur games too, the more flat-footed characters are just like generally worse. Because obviously speed is like, can be a big part of how... Ugh, you're dead, boy. Oh, I guess not. There we go. But speed can be, especially in a Smash Brothers game, which has like more platforms and more area for movement. Here we see that there's a very limited. In fact, when somebody backs up, I don't know if we'll see it like soon, but like the screen will only like let them be as like this far apart, right? Like you can't even like back up fully. So movement is a lot more limited in the Street Fighter games. But speed is obviously something that the better you are, the more you can utilize speed, right? So it's the same thing with having like really good combos. Like you can see a character with amazing combos, but maybe has like a poor neutral game or something. Might be really bad for a new player because like the new player doesn't know any of the combos, so they can't activate the strengths of the character. Yeah. Same thing with the Kuma. Kuma's got all these mix-ups, but the thing about a mix-up is it's only good if your opponent is like expecting something. If your opponent's just like, I'm pressing buttons, right? Button mashing is a term that's just which you know has like a particular meaning in this fighting game community. But if your opponent's just mashing buttons, it doesn't really matter if I have mix-ups or not, right? Because they're not expecting anything. Yeah. So the strengths of a character can often be something that's utilized by the player in order to win. And so I think that, in a lot of fighting games, speed becomes a really important thing, and most players will play a fast character. But in Street Fighter, I would say, because of the speed is less important, because you're generally much closer to each other and kind of forced to be. And so that means heavy characters have more area to shine. Can you do it, Taquito? Yes, you can. Let's go! Yeah, I love Taquito! Like, look at how crazy, like, look at how wild he's going. He's so excited, right? And that's what fighting games are all about. So we're just going to skip forward just a little bit so we can make sure to get the whole finals. And now we see Taquito's, feeling himself, right? Like he just did it, and then bam, bam. Let's see, can he get the full? Yep. There we go. Perfect KO. You know, nothing worse than grand finals. Loser side, you just lost, and you're like, okay, I just gotta take a breath. I gotta figure him out, right? And then it's like he perfect KOs you. Yeah. But the thing is it can really go in the opposite direction. As we saw before, Daigo ended up losing to Punk, even though he perfect KO'd him in that set. And so, it's just like in tennis, where like, just because they got you on a round doesn't mean you can't give up, right? You have to just like kind of reset, especially because it's so combo centric, right? Like it's like, oh, he just got this really awesome combo on me, and if I just blocked at this one point in the combo, I would have been okay. Let's see, not looking good for Punk right now. And there we go. At this point, I have to wonder if Punk is considering a character switch. So a character switch is something you can do in between rounds, where you kind of, and that's funny, I'm just talking about it like it's live. Like this happened like 2 years ago. But character switches were like, okay, this isn't working out, I'm gonna switch characters. But it looks like he's gonna stick with Karen. He's warmed up on Karen, of course. It can be hard sometimes to switch because the combos are different, and you might forget what the combos are. You might try to do the combo. That's me. That's what happens. Try to do the combo with somebody. Good anti-air. So we can see, I think over the course of this set, we can see that Punk is like played more and more reserved and like more on the back foot, and that's part of the reason why I think Taquito is he's kind of in his head a little bit. And we see that Punk is just getting less reads, and we see that more importantly, Taquito is really capitalizing on his reads a lot, even better. Like he got one read there, like he got that much damage, and then he's got his opponent in the corner, so he's like got a pretty good advantage state here. Punk is trying to get out. He's throwing out a couple buttons. There we go. Nice grab. Karen's got a lot of damage on the grabs. That's pretty good. There we go. There we go. Good job. So that's like Punk's first round win in a while. So that's good for Punk. Let's see if he can keep going. There we go. He's starting to go for these crouchings because he's realizing the thing about what Taquito was doing is Taquito was playing very much like, I want to move forward and get to you. And the thing is, if you see a lot of times they'll do this like little like dance where they move forward a little bit and they back up. That's kind of baiting the opponent into throwing out a move, right? And so I think Punk is starting to read that Akuma has been trying to do that a lot, or Taquito's been doing that a lot. And the thing is, if you throw out a move when someone's moving forward, they're gonna get hit. And so he started to throw out these sweeps where he and that was how he took this first round pretty well. Is by throwing out sweeps. And, ooh, he was like, I gotta get out of the corner, but this round's over.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, so this is the animation for his special. And if you get a cable with it, just pretty cool. So Taquito's probably feeling pretty good. He only needs to win one more now to win the whole tournament. This is grand final. Punk is thinking. That's something really important about fighting games, and then like I've experienced, fighting games are perhaps the easiest game to get tilted. And tilting is when your like emotions are like starting to interfere with your play because you're feeling discouraged or defeated or angry or frustrated. And so in this case, it's really important in a fighting game to keep composure because as you saw when we were playing, the second when you started pressing buttons when I was attacking you, it just got worse, right? Yeah. And so here, Punk is just trying to recollect himself because he's probably beaten Taquito before. Who knows? He might have been the one who sent Taquito to losers bracket for all we know. And so, he's beaten a lot of people this weekend. He's a great player, but we've seen that from an emotional perspective. Taquito's definitely been on the winner's side here. And now Punk is like, okay, he's actually collected himself, but this combo is pretty bad. Okay. Oh.
Gnarly.
He's still, oh no. He's not up. Okay. Darn. It really looks like Punk had it there for a little bit. I just want to keep watching Street Fighter, right? Like go Punk. Like, if Taquito was losing, I'd be like, Taquito, go Taquito! Like,
yeah.
For me, and I think for a lot of players, it's easy to empathize with the person who's losing, or who's the underdog, right? We want to see them make the awesome comeback, or pull off the impossible. Ooh, that was a cool jump backwards. Usually you don't see players jumping backwards too much because you can't really get anything off of a jump backwards. You leave yourself open, right? Because you can't block on the air. Also, excellent job. And so you can see it's a really kind of like if to compare it to another sport for anyone watching. Street Fighter can be like boxing, especially in terms of the way it looks, but also like basketball in terms of it's like a game of runs. Like in basketball, it can be like a team goes on a run and pulls ahead or pulls a lead, or comes up from behind. It can be the same thing in Street Fighter or in a fighting game because things are so based on read. Like you get 2 or 3 reads in a row, that might be the game, right? And so it can be like a run of reads that you get, right? Like there he got a read that his opponent was going to block. He got the grab. Ooh, that jump was pretty ill-timed. And that'll be it. That's the whole thing. Taquito wins. And you can see they're friends probably, and Punk gives him a hug. And that guy's like, yeah! He might be from South Korea, and that's his boy, right? The South Korean player Taquito. But yeah, that'll be it for our game of our watching Street Fighter. I'm excited. We will definitely return to Street Fighter at some point in a couple months. And we'll see, but that's the gist of what I would say the most straightforward fighting game out there is. Any closing thoughts?
No. I'm enjoying going through the different styles of fighting and talking about the gameplay and the players behind it, not just the mechanics. So.
Excellent. Well, go ahead and hit end stream, and we will see you guys next week, 3 to 5 in the arena. Next week we'll be playing something. I don't know what.